Hello everyone, namaste. My name is Bill Austin. I'm a spiritual healer, teacher, artist, and visionary living in St. Petersburg, Florida, in the United States. My main website is www.healingholograms.com. This is going to be a discussion about forgiveness. As most of you know, I'm a real believer in self-love and self-acceptance. I really think to create a life that works, you have to build it on self-love and self-acceptance. And a lot of times the reason why we can't love and accept ourselves is because we have a forgiveness issue. And forgiveness is really a difficult subject to talk about because a lot of times people really wound and hurt us. And when we think about forgiving them, we go, they don't deserve to be forgiven. Why forgive them? And you forgive them because it's really not for the other person, it's for yourself. The people in our lives that we have forgiveness issues, one is they often are people that are reflecting back to us some core issues in ourselves that we haven't healed and cleared and accepted. And then the second thing about forgiveness issues in our lives is that they create a lot of situations of emotional woundedness and trauma. And if we don't heal that emotional woundedness and trauma in ourselves, then whatever we our outer lives are really outer reflection of what's in our heart and mind. Our heart and whatever we have in our mind amplified by our heart becomes projected outward in our outer lives through the law of attraction. So if you have a lot of emotional woundedness and trauma and hurt going on here, then you're going to create a life that isn't very loving and very supportive because basically your emotional woundedness and trauma inside is going to be projected to your outer life, and it's not going to be a very happy experience for you. So you forgive yourself and others because you really want to heal your life and to create a life that works for you. And how do you do it? Like when I have forgiveness issues now, in a lot of ways I just see them as my spiritual teacher at the moment. And what I do is I go into a meditative state of consciousness and I ask, what's going on? What's going on with this situation? Why have I attracted this situation into my life or this person into my life that I need to heal and forgive? What's going on? And I pretend that they're my spiritual teacher and I ask, what spiritual lessons am I learning from that? And then a lot of times I'll ask, well, why did I create this pattern to begin with? Because a lot of times forgiveness issues are tied to stuff that happens in childhood. So I'll try to get to the source of it. And sometimes it's from past lives as well, or future lives or parallel lives. But I try to get to the source. Because a lot of times the issues that we have for forgiveness, even though it may happen in the now moment, it's really reflected in an old pattern. So it's very important to forgive things not only in the now moment, but it's even more powerful to try to figure out what the root cause is and to heal it in the past as well. For example, one of my best friends has a problem with forgiving his father. He has a lot of anger toward his father. So for many years, he would attract bosses into his life that he would argue and fight with, and then he'd get fired. He had a very hard time keeping a job for more than 6 months. And the reason he did that is because he hadn't forgiven his father. And because he hadn't forgiven his father, he was a magnetic to all these people like his father entering his life, and then he'd have confrontation with them, and then they fire him, and then he felt hurt and wounded, and so if you have experience like that, it's important not only to heal the woundedness and the hurt from the being fired, but it's also very important to forgive the father so that you don't attract people into your life. You're not magnetic to those type of life experiences. And one really powerful way of what I do on forgiveness is I go into a meditative state of mind. I ask what are the spiritual lessons around it, where are the causes, and I ask for healing around that. A lot of times for people we have forgiveness issues in our life are people that we have karma with. So I ask for healing and amelioration of all karma between me and that other person. I ask for healing and clearing of all energetic allowances, weaknesses, or imbalances that magnetize that person or event that needs to be forgiven into my life. And sometimes, depending on what it is, sometimes I'll bring in the highest soul aspect of my monad and the highest soul aspect of their monad and ask for us to say. Sometimes you need to say stuff, and you can do that. That's a safe way of saying it. Bring in their highest soul aspect of monad. Don't call them and say it, to themselves, but, just call in their monad and say it to the monad, and they will get it. If you connect with someone's highest level aspect of their monad and say what you say, they will hear it on many levels, and it will shift the energy of it. Another thing you could do is to write down what you'd like to say. And try to write it down from the most loving aspect of yourself, the highest level aspect of yourself, and don't send it to them. Don't send it to them. Don't send it to them. You know, a lot of times you just need to write it down to take it out of your mind and hurt and write it into paper. And then sometimes like it's very, you know, I sometimes take it on paper and then I burn it. You know, it's like as a way of healing and releasing it. Um, you know, and then like the other thing I really like to play with forgiveness is work with things as energetic symbols. Like for example, if you're in a relationship and you feel like the person is like trying to put boundaries on you or is not letting you be who you are, when you visualize that situation, you might get symbol yourself in a cage, and then you can bring in light and love from the Creator to dissolve the things. And your superconscious, subconscious mind loves symbols and working with symbols. And a lot of times what's really neat about symbols is if you're really mad at a person, you know, if you try to work on it through that place of anger, it's very hard. But if you reduce it to a symbol, a lot of times the symbol doesn't have that emotional charge, so you can heal and clear it using the symbol, and then it clears it, you know, in other ways. For people who are really serious about clearing, healing, and releasing things, I downloaded like in early 2008 the Universal Clearing Profile. I've downloaded tons of stuff in my incarnation. It's what I do really, and but this is like a tool that I use on a daily basis, and I can't say I've really ever had a tool that I use on a daily basis like I do the Universal Clearing Profile, and it's very powerful. And I encourage you as homework to look at all the important people in your life and to look at like any issues that are unhealed, any forgiveness issues. And you know what you find about forgiveness work is you know, you heal and forgive the person to the extent that you can, and then you work on the next thing to clear, heal, and release that's unrelated to a person. And then like in a year later you can circle back and do more forgiveness work, because the stuff you cleared in a year means that you can get to the next level of forgiveness work. And it's sort of like peeling down the onion and trying to get more and more clear. And that's what life is all about in a lot of ways on the spiritual path. A constant cycle of clearing and forgiving, clearing and forgiving, clearing and forgiving. Anyway, I appreciate you listening to my presentation. Namaste, and I look forward to connecting with you again on the inner planes.